coming through when it is time. When it's the final hour, you know my man's going to be the landing every single Q, so we call him Surgical Shio. Before now, hopefully Dorte doesn't dive in by himself, as this comp might potentially leave him out to dry, considering all the CC GameWards have. If they lock him down first, then BDSA might be a bit of a tough spot. We're into game number 3 here, the beatdown. BDSA, GW, as GW definitely want that W, as I've said.
That's right, and it only gets harder from here for the rest of the regular season in spring. So they have to, it has to start here, especially if you want to catch up to the likes of Solary, who are also, again, one of the teams who definitely have the highest chances of securing the 6th place spot. And we saw that deep vision come through. We're actually going to see a replay of it, which is kind of funny. So it's nice because it wasn't about fighting. It wasn't really about catching people up. When you have this more aggressive jungle, as Lee Sin versus something like a Hecarim, you have that ability, level 1 usually, to be able to go ahead and set up some deep vision. What that means is you want to track this Hecarim. You want to know, okay, where's this horsey going for these first couple minutes of the game? Because with Shio playing something like the Lee Sin, you have a lot of lanes that can move first and potentially rotate if you want to try and make an aggressive play. So you have a lot of options to be able to shut them out in the early game.
What I'm surprised by, actually, is that they didn't lock in Karma, actually. Because I find his Karma is actually pretty decent, although I know it's not the same amount of CC, but that poke lane does give you prio, especially over Crown Shot and Dirty, which you don't definitely want to do, and really helps out in the competitions like, you know, with Jace, especially with Hecker especially, but I do understand it because now with this gives Akabane a diving bite, right? We don't want him going in by himself, and
no, sir.
Nautilus is pretty decent as doing that, as you've seen already in the previous game.
We have, and BDSA, eyes are on Shio, who usually isn't as active early game, but this is where you want him to be active, considering the matchup. We have a big window where Akabane is not going to be able to do as much, and it's interesting because a lot of GameWard success is when he is on these Xin Zhaos, especially Xin Zhao. It's the highest win rate champion for him so far in spring, but they are going in a different direction on the side of GameWard. Unlike Oplon, we have to see if GameWard will be able to hold on in the early game and not fall so far behind. The dive potential is not there. Yeah,
because we've seen this from GameWard very, very often, right? Because if they tend to fall behind in the early game, it leads to a much more reactionary type of playstyle that does not bode well for them, right? They decide to, as you mentioned, turtle, essentially, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then if BDSA shows the same proactivity, then GameWard might potentially do the exact same thing as they just try to ride things out and scale for late, but that never ends up working out for them.
That's the thing too. It's a really good point. So as this tends to happen with GameWard, where they kind of slow things down when they fall behind, I don't think that's gonna actually go really poorly for them here, because they're going to need to, again, unlike Oplon, be able to pull the trigger when they find an opportunity. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to come out on top in this game. I like this pathing we've seen from Akabane as well. You know the invade is coming through from Shio, and because he skipped the Krugs and is doing them at the end, he's actually in an unexpected spot.
This is such a bad spot right now for Crouch on Ardozi. He blows the flash so early, I thought he would have saved it for the wall, and this is just unfortunate. Yeah, that's the first blood. Crown Shot. I don't know about that one, bro.
I think that's absolutely just so worth it. You go 1-for-1 across the map. It was definitely a planned play there from BDSA, but you get a little bit more value just because of the fact that Melanik is going to be able to TP back. We're going to see how it started. It was a good ward, actually, in the tri-brush. He was expecting this, but ultimately there's only so much you can do with expectation when the Rune Prism is there to just lock you down.
Indeed, there we go. And exactly like you mentioned, the Rune Prison as Shio takes up all the tower shots. Well-executed dive, and I find, I was going to say, Araziko as well, in the mid lane, I was expecting him on the rise to be able to roam early, playing at the proactivity that we might see out of BDSA, as that may not be there from Regressive, but kind of almost forcing Shio out of his comfort zone, because like I know they're saying like, hey man, I know you want to farm in full clear for the next 10 minutes, but how about you don't do that?
Yeah, and the thing I like too is that this ends up being good. This actually ends up being a little better than expected for Aggressivu, just because of the timing there. Melanik, Jace usually wants to, much like Gangplank, and needs his first back to be the Sheen. For Melanik, it's that serrated dirt. So this laning phase, because he only had enough gold for something like the Vampiric Scepter, Means it's not going to be as strong in lane as he may have hoped. So we'll see if Akabane actually manages to move to that top side and find an opening, especially because Aggressive is going to have the push. There will be opportunities, but you can see that they know where he is, because after that play, BDSA, they managed to set down a lot of vision, get the timing on a lot of these jungle camps, and also get the timing on Akabane himself.
Akabane, like you said, gets found out there because the 1v1 early on for Hacker, it might not be super great. The flash for the wall from Zico. Look at that, get the lockdown as well, but he runs away under the tower. He's a fast little horse. Aggressive was here. He might be a bit too deep as they all got to run away. Like you said, the teleport from Chocolade will make sure that all of Aggressive and the BDSA run away.
Yeah, really good defensive TP. It's going to allow them to hold on, as you say, and allow everybody to safely recall. And as we look back to on this bottom side, because all this action has been top side, no one's gone for the dragon. Things have slowed down quite a bit here, and you see Crown Shot is getting the better of Inax. I mean, Crown Shot's a player we highlight a lot, a big focus for the team, usually for BDSA. Yeah, but this time around, he actually hasn't been getting as much attention unless it's from Akabane like we saw early on. So I like it. GameWard being aggressive, keeping things moving early, because that is their key to success.
Indeed, like we already mentioned before, if they play the very reactive play style, almost hoping that BDSA will step up, then nothing will happen in the entire game. But the other thing though, takes a big chunk out of his health. He's a Tom Kent, so should be fine. Should manage to heal all that back up. Lickety split, but that chunk does mean they now have to play much farther back in lane. Because Akabane is here, but so is Shio.
Right, and Akabane is just looking for whatever extra farm he can get. You can see he's been slightly ahead because he's been power farming more so than making plays. And the sooner he gets to level 6,
that'll land the slow on Camilius though, but
Infernum.
That might not be enough. Like you said, Inax is only about level 5. That's a lot of AoE damage. Akabane is now here. They get one, but there's the rise as well. Crown Shot is definitely in trouble. No heal, no flash.
Wait, this is
they
turnable.
Get him again.
Oh,
very turnable. The shockwave from Chocolade as he gets the double.
The timing couldn't be better for GameWard, for Akabane to hit level 6, and that onslaught of shadows allows them to turn what could have been good for BDSA into a catastrophe. They know that Camilius is in the river. They don't see him near this Hecarim, so they know he's not with Akabane. So instead, Camilius, he's just using his whole kit, trying to hold people down. Says, guys, we can do something here. Try and come to make the play. And it ends up being successful. Even though Crown Shot gets a kill, no flash from earlier means they take him down very easily. And you see Chocolade on the way level 6. You see Akabane hit level 6. And this just, you can tell the difference in their ability to skirmish early as soon as those ults are up compared to when they're not.
And I just keep thinking, if Crown Shot has his flash there, this fight does not happen. Like, GW immediately just goes away, because they're thinking, okay, you know what? He's already gone. No need to overextend. Probably Chocolate doesn't come down either, and Zeke and Chico also just walks away. There's no real rift to be had, but unfortunate. It's the punishment from GameWard and the proactivity we're looking for to start this game off, as Rift Herald will be taken away by BDSA. It's their first to take. No vision really set up either from GameWard either, so they'll give that up. Lefty trade for the dragon as BDSA do have a fair amount of wards there, so they'll know this is happening.
You're okay to let that one go, because even though you've managed to find a lot of value in the early game, you expended a lot of your ultimates, you have Inax, who is having all this alone time on the bottom side of the map. You're okay to let this Herald go. The fact is, he's gotten 3 turret plates on his own, and that's already more value than a Rift Herald is able to get you in the early game. So you end up being perfectly fine with this trade, and you can see it. GameWard are ahead now, a nice chunk of gold at the 9-minute mark. Nobody is going for the dragon, but at the moment here too, you can see the vision game, to be fair, is in favor of BDSA. So many deep wards topside, a lot of wards in this bottom side river, but ultimately it is GameWard, GameWard, who are still in a strong position.
GameWard has it right now. Like you mentioned, this is the game where they have to step up. This is the game where they have to show that they're still in line in contention for playoffs. And if they do manage to win this would be another upset that we have. Potential back-to-back ones. Between, especially against BDSA, who was hyped up very much coming into the split. Although they've fallen off as of recently, not being able to have the exact same sort of dominance that we saw at the beginning. Still very strong, especially at the back of Crown Shot, an ADC like you already mentioned before. We talk about far too much at this point. But his ability to put the team on his back and his satchel and go forward has been exponential. But as of right now, haven't been able to do a ton of that. They're sitting 7-5, not too bad, but a loss here could mean that more ties and potentially another one means that they might be out of running for playoffs too.
Seeing pinks come through, a lot of them actually.
Yeah.
From GameWard, they want to try and make a play. They know Shio is likely on this side of the map, and if they catch him pathing towards the top play, to yet again play towards Aggressive, then they might be able to do something about it. But they don't find any openings at this point. Shio has set his sights into the mid lane. He has the Rift Herald. Bot lane isn't an option at the moment here. It's going to be either mid or top. I mean, you know, with Shio showing mid, Chico's going to be able to continue to get the pressure. And once again, we're going to see the repeat of the 3-minute play that came up. Chico and Shio just going to move with the Realm Warp. Melanic's in trouble.
Yep, he already saw them on the vision, right? So you knew this was happening. And now Melanic going to get TP as well from Shekel, I was going to say. But there we go, as he goes in, Crown Shot caught yet again, has his flash, pops the heal. And so they punish him in the 2v1 as Erdeltia was not there.
You can see it, Camille's Hex Slash showing up there means you see that Chameleon just went really aggressive. As soon as Crown Shot was on his screen, he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not okay. It means it's more gold and XP lost for BDSA's 80 carry. Because of the top play, though, and the fact that Checo had TP'd to hold on to the turret, there's still nothing to be done with this Rift Herald yet.
Yeah.
So now, maybe, or rather what they should do is probably look to do it in the mid lane. You can see that with Crown Shot moving there as we speak.
As we'll get a replay of the bot side play, where Crown Shot moves into Ward. Was probably not aware that both of them are moving in, and tries to put the rocket to help out the top side play, and gets punished for it. That is twice now that Crown Shot has moved up into the river.
Yep.
Realistically, without any vision, and just unfortunate positioning, costing him summoners and his life.
Yeah, I mean, he still holds on to Flash, but it's true that he ends up losing his life in the process, and it's tough. Because you move your bot lane to the mid lane, you can tell BDSA want to try and make something with the Herald, but instead...
no way, dude. Melanic is just getting bullied. The rock, oh no, by mere inches. Misses his mark. That would have been a nice little pick-me-up for Crown Shot to come back into the game, but sadly, will not work out. They will get this top tower, though, and Aggressive will dash away.
That is a big chunk of gold in Aggressive's pocket, which is nice. He's already got the Hull Breaker, is already going to be pretty strong in terms of the split push. But overall, you got to ask yourself, what did it cost BDSA to get these leads for their top laner? Well, it cost Crown Shot a couple of deaths, you can see, and the fact that he is down a couple hundred gold. But realistically, when you think about the front to back as well, Aggressive is going to have to go really big to find the value out of this one. Crown Shot being behind, and all these engaged duels able to bypass the front line and get on top of him, especially when you think about Akabane on this Hecarim, the fact that Checolad's Shockwave can be hand-delivered personally to Crown Shot.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do a really good job on BDSA side to keep him safe. We talked about Erdote with this particular pick and why this Tahm Kench is going to be so good. He has to try and use that Devour to save Crown Shot's life.
Crown Shot, though, like you're saying, he needs a buddy beside him. He's unfortunately been caught up the river without a paddle far too many times, not just because he was the river, but just in general, right? Because we were talking a bit about Clean Free 80 carry, especially a Jinx, and there we go. That's what we were looking at. There's a Devourer to save him.
That's exactly what we see. That's the value of the pick. In that situation, Flash or not, Crown Shot probably dies if it's any other support besides maybe Thresh. So it's a really good play. However, because of the health, you still do have to recall. You still lose pressure on that bottom side of the map. Man, Inax, he just doesn't care.
Oh, he's feeling himself.
Yeah, and the Crown Shot has no flash now.
Yeah, he can also run away from that too. And with that flash being down, I mean, they can punish that timer again, because I noticed the Devourer does come up pretty fast, but if he is caught like that, what's more, with no flash, not able to get away, then they can pull the exact same play. Flash is a long timer, and we knew that GameWard would be playing a lot more on top side, potentially with the Jason, with the Jace pick, but BDSA looks to punish that, but that ends up costing them a lot of Crown Shots early play, and any sort of hope that the Jinx might scale in the late game a little bit faster than usual. But they get the second dragon. It's quite nice. But now in GameWard, they know they're okay with giving this up, as they get topside prio and the Rift Herald.
And this one's going to be more valuable. It's not soul point for BDSA, so they're happy to trade it and get this turret, because now they could just easily play towards this top side or use it to make that play onto the mid lane turret. You could go for the dive. You have so many ways to be able to do so. Urdote doesn't quite have that Devour off cooldown yet, so if they make it quick enough, they might be able to take Crown Shot out of the picture, because again, no flash because of that Moonlight Vigil from Inax about a minute ago. So you're still quite a ways away from that Summoner spell coming back online.
And like you're saying, the dive would be very easily executable, but it's just about all the members being there. But considering they do notice him mid, they decide not to jump on him just yet. But they will definitely want to try to force him out to get prior around mid turret, as the next dragon is up in 4 minutes. So this Rift Herald will likely just be used to gain pressure elsewhere on the map, hopefully a side lane to perhaps give Melanik some gold.
Right, and I mean, he's definitely been going through it a little bit in the top lane, but I think all things considered, he's been doing pretty well. He's only down 12 CS, and the main difference in gold between these top laners is going to end up being the turret plays. And that first turret gold that went over to Aggressivu. But ultimately, like on the split, the fact that most of the reason BDSA is keeping up is Aggressivu, him being constantly in the side lane already increases what is a really strong 4v4 here for GameWard. So the GameWard is okay with this.
Yeah. And I believe
That's
BDSA
annoying.
is okay with that. Yeah. A bunch of lockdown, the knock-up onto one, but the exhaust onto Inax. That might not be enough. No one's there to follow up on him. In slow and Chameleon, the knock on the death charge. Oh, beautiful shockwave to follow up along with the Devour. Make sure no one dies, but Chameleon's a bit too far up. He took a bunch of damage early on as BDSA. So GameWard have to try to walk away. Another Abyssal dive.
No.
A lockdown onto Inax, and there we go. Considering the flash was up and not going to be able to use it. The knockback of the Melanik. BDSA are playing this fight on a knife's edge, but cutting that sashimi beautifully.
But a really well-played fight coming through from BDSA. They managed to get so much gold into their pockets because of how well they managed to sequester GameWard into their side of the map, making it so hard that, especially once the shockwave came through, didn't find any value because of the Devour. BDSA, they were on the retreat, and you can see it here. It starts off with Shiko taking a good amount of Akabine's health, realizing that, okay, now with using the Abyssal Dive, using the exhaust, Inax is under a lot of pressure here. He already lost some of his HP, so you're on the back, on the run if you were Melanik, and the fact that you lose so much health and you lose Chameleus in the process means your engage isn't really there anymore because Akabine's health is too low to just ult in.
Yeah, and considering how far behind he felt, right, like you said, they were locked inside a bit of a precipice where simply there was no salvation to be had. As we look back to live, Chameleus unfortunately gets caught out again. A bit too far up, no sums on him either. That'll be given over. But for now, as they continue the fight, Shio wants to kick onto Inax. He does not have it up yet, but just simply exerting pressure to force him away and try to get a crown shot this mid-turret.
Oh, they're getting more than that.
Yeah, they might be able to. No CC lands, but at least with this, they will get this mid-turret force, so they lock that down. Akabane has tried to walk away from this, but they clear away the wave. Okay, good defense by GameWard, only losing one in the process.
Right, I mean, worst case, you do end up losing your support, but it is not too bad that you managed to hold on. It costs Inax his flash. It's going to be the big thing. Again, we talk about is lacking a little bit of the peel compared to what Crown Shot has with Urdote on this Tahm Kench. Does mean that it is going to be a little tougher for Inax to navigate these team fights, especially with how well Urdote is finding angles with these dives. It's either going to be him or Shio. But we know, yeah, maybe the early game is a little bit questionable. When it comes to mid-game, late game, finding these clutch kicks with the Dragon's Rage, Shio is one of those guys.
I would say he is, if not one of two guys that might be able to get it. And there we go. The TP, aggressive, who thought he was alone. The Fear not going to land on him with the shockwave. He is surviving for quite a fair bit. Hullbreaker is a good item, but he will eventually die. And all that for Chameleus to get the kill. But at least as Repair will get the second charge, and likely the second tower, as well as a Look at mid side. Inax gets punished for being there. A crown shot will also die as he just barely does not get Chocolate. That's both those kills going to Camilius.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's definitely it feels bad. Your support picking up both the kills, but the pressure is there. The gold and XP lost because members are off the map is still definitely there. The problem being, though, you spend so much time and overcommit to the side of the map. What does that mean? Mountain Soul Point for BDSA. Now they're one dragon away from getting the extra resistances, the shield that is constantly refreshing, and that means that Melanic's poke on the Jace honestly is invalidated with that shield because of how often it ends up coming back up. So you're in a tough spot now if you're GameWard. You fall behind. You still have ways to play, but it's getting harder and harder because of the gold leads that BDSA have gotten for themselves here and how aggressive BDSA are playing. As soon as you see an angle, as soon as you see Inax now, who's stepping a little too far forward without his flash, they're happy to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and we've seen this look out of BDSA previously as although they didn't necessarily engage in a ton of fights and GameWard did take very good advantage of trying to punish their bot side, but them just boiling it down to macro is what they are one of the best at in the league. Simply just playing the map and trying to find where they can extend their leads and simply just tower plays.
Oh, goodbye.
Is beautiful as Chocolate is dead. No more
He's
shields.
not?
He's fine. They don't manage to get him. The rocket doesn't kill him. That's so sick, and to get a Darte out of it. Wow. It's not a GameWard.
Wow, yeah,
cool.
no, that was really good. They managed to get Erdote instead, and it ends up going on to someone not named Camilius. I think that's dub after dub, if you ask me. Now, it does offer with no support there for BDSA. You do have that opportunity to continue to push your vision line. You can push top without worrying as much about a play happening, at least for the moment here. That means vision around Baron is controlled by GameWard. The thing is, you're not too worried yet your BDSA simply because, one, you hold on to a lead, and two, fact is, you know GameWard are not in a spot to just go ahead and start the Baron right now. So they're just going to do their thing, clear camps, push mid, and go ahead and control vision on this top side. Clear things out so that when we get closer to Dragon time, GameWard don't try and sneak this Baron. But you got to imagine GameWard are going to focus their efforts very soon on the other side of the map. Hold on!
Oh, look at that! It's a party! And Chocolate is invited. But it's a party I'm sure he would rather not be at.
Melanic?
As Melanica decides to show up a bit too late and they kick him out the door.
Oh, big damage?
Fast as that. A Darte with
Wait,
the
it's
next target.
turnable?
It's a 2-for-1. They want to go in. Shield goes very deep into Inax. Can't find the kick. He stays alive.
He got the
look at
down.
shot. He's not excited yet, but at least to get 2-for-2. You get the lockdown flash with the wall from Zico. And Akabane stays alive.
Oh my god, that was a terrible situation for GameWard, and now it's only kind of bad. You end up getting some kills in return. It's Inax who finally gets some crucial kills and a shutdown in his pocket, and it does mean, even though it's a good catch by BDSA, they can't turn it into a Baron. So you kind of hold on by your fingertips if you're GameWard, but you are happy with the fact that Inax is managing to pick up some of these kills. The recall in about a minute's time before the Dragon start is going to be a pretty big item buy from the AD carry of GameWard, but it's going to be tough because you can see BDSA are constantly pushing the pace, and what we were worried about is coming true. GameWard, they're slowing down a little bit in terms of some of the plays that they're making. They're not being as active as we've seen early on, and the fact is they have a lot of ways to do so. Yeah,
because we've seen that a lot of the plays, have been very much response type straight, but like you're mentioning, if they make the plays off of Jackal and Akabane, we're talking about the ball delivery systems that are available, especially with Camilius linking up alongside them, then they can try to punish BDSA, who are playing kind of pretty, I would say, neutral, right, across the board with their ADCs just pushing mid and trying to cover all their lanes, but off the back of Akabane, they can try to punish the flash timers, but not being able to do so and just waiting for BDSA to slip up is definitely not going to pay off in the long run as of right now.
Yeah, you can see it. Watch Shio. He's going to look for a clutch kick there onto Inax. Inax has his splash. So GameWard overall definitely in a bit of a better position to go for the team fight. Erdote, another key cooldown. That Devour. When you have so much on GameWard's side trying to take down Crown Shot, that one cooldown could very well save the fight and the game here for BDSA.
Speaking of trying to make plays, they go in on to Chico. He gets locked
down.
Look at that. Erdote saves him. Big shield back up. And just
Camilius.
like that, Camilius is dead once more as they want to push the button. They want to try to get more out of GameWard. But Melanic's will not be slowed down. Erdote can't find any more CC. BDSA will limp away
Yeah, this is a bit of a problem, though. We're 30 seconds away from the Dragon, so GameWard couldn't get enough off that play. I like the idea. Try and isolate Chico. Try and take him down before anyone else can join. But it's not there. You can't get the value. And what does that mean? Chameleus, 4 seconds before your big engage is up on GameWard's side, and already all of BDSA are back out onto the map and back out to play for this Dragon. GameWard do not have a choice. This is not a soul you can let go. You can't think, well, it's Cloud Soul, it's kind of whatever. They have to go for Dragon right now. They're clearing vision to see if maybe they can try and, oh my gosh, I think they're going to trade for Baron.
I think they might just do that, like you're saying. Aggressive Vu is there. There's no TP on it, so it would be a 4v5. They decide to fight this. But Shio is there. We know how proficient he is at steals. Shockwave is now up as he gets the Dragon, as Camille looks to turn. Crown Shot with a depth charge. He can run away from this. But Akaban wants to go deep. Onside of Shadows is up as Ardote is just killing so much time. Now Shio is here, so is Aggressive Vu. Chekolade is dead, and he kills just enough time for BDSA to show up. Chameleon's the next target. They can now turn towards Baron as he is dead.
And that's going to be it. BDSA get their cake and get to eat it too. They get the Mountain Soul, and they're going to get the Baron buff for themselves. GameWard feeling very pressured to try and make something, anything happen here, as they know they're going to lose that Mountain Soul. So they try to flip for the Baron, and they land on tails. GameWard not in a good position at all, as BDSA reminding us, despite the shakeups, despite the inconsistencies, why they are a top of the table team. They're working their way towards win number 8.
Indeed, we were saying before that although they were down in the early game, BDSA knows how to slow the pace of the game down. Although there were some very small slip-ups, right? It was just ended up being around the map, which they simply played better. It's something we praised them for. In fact, just minutes ago on how well they're managing to split up GameWard and GW. Like you mentioned, they just simply were not proactive enough. They did not make enough plays to try to pressure BDSA, to try to respond. And now from here, they control the map, they control the vision, and GameWard have very tough choices to make if they want to somehow bring this game back.
And I mean, honestly, part of the choices that have to be made are on the side of BDSA. They're going in.
Yeah, they found the knockup onto Adelti, not the target you want probably. But as it looks to go back, Akaban is far too deep, and now they get the knockup onto one more. Melik will not even get the slam as he gets slammed, and is just so easy right now for BDSA. And Axa wants to run away, puts out the diving penguin, but he will most definitely die. It just matters who the kill goes to. And Crownshaw will happily take that one, as that's a full ace. They can just end the game, beat down.
The game's over. BDSA are going to take it to GameWard's base, as GameWard, although things were looking okay in the early game, starting to fall behind. Making some of these desperate plays means BDSA managed to easily come out on top. Well played.
Well played indeed. Desperation is fool's gold, my friend. So if you think you might outskill, if you think this is where the game goes, well, think again. As of right now, they just look to pad their stats a little bit, and they'll now finally get the